you guys know what people make from streaming?
What is it like cents? Like
it's like fractions of a penny. Yeah. From like each stream. It's crazy. So like all like the people at like my level telling you they make like this amount of money, they don't. they don't make a lot. Like so last year was my biggest year. And that's I had 600,000 like I don't know, I had like 100,000 the year before or something like that. So like the growth is great, and 600,000 seems dope in 92 different countries, right? Seems sick. And then you check the bank section of the website, and then you go in, and it's like, oh, like $3,000. so like, and like I think like 600,000 is awesome. Like that's cool.
Yeah.
But like as far as like what you make off that, it's like, I mean, like imagine trying to live off 3K, like, you know what I mean? So like, you gotta make your money in so many other ways. Like it's just, you can't just, until you're like the Russes of the world, they're like these huge artists that once you get those millions of stream per month, then you could rake off streaming by just sitting on your couch. But like until then, you just don't make enough. Streaming is like literally fractions of a penny for each stream. It's crazy.
So for yourself, do you have like I'm assuming you have a YouTube, right?
A YouTube, yeah.
Yeah. So I figured like even that, like you create your accounts, you put your music up on there as well. So like you're obviously, as long as you have like the 1,000 subscribers and like whatever, like you make your fraction from that as well, right?
Yeah. So I don't post nearly enough on YouTube, but yeah, it's the same thing. YouTube is like, I mean, you'll see a bunch of the big like content creators on YouTube always complain about the money they actually make from I mean, look at millions of views, and then it's still, but they'll make their money off merch, off the product, ads, everything like that. It's never off the, like, views are dope and views get you there, but unless you actually have the fans that are going to buy shit from you, then you really got nothing. Because like I mean, so like even if I hit 1 million, like if I hit 1 million streams, like, I mean, which I think is cool, but like it just doesn't get you there. You got to be getting millions a month. So
that's crazy,
man. Yeah, I wonder if the music industry like did that on purpose or something. I mean, obviously they did it, but like just in comparison to when it was just straight up CDs and it was like straight up like shows or whatever. Like I feel like one person that I always hear that talks about this is like when he's on the Breakfast Club or whatever is like Master P. He'll talk about how when he was coming up, he basically, I think he went to Priority Records in the beginning and they were telling him like, we're going to give you a deal. We're going to own 75% of whatever you put out. And he's like, no. He's like, fuck that. Came back the next day and he's like, you know what? He's like, we're taking 80. Or no, he's like, we're taking like 85. You're taking 15. And somehow he was able to convince them that he was going to take the majority of it. And then he had like all control or whatever. And like, then you compare that with, I guess what they call a 360 deal. I don't know if you're familiar with that term, but when they take, I think that's when like a company can take a piece of every single thing you do, like your concerts, your
right.
Any music you release, a CD or whatever, like it just, they all take a piece of that. So it's crazy how like Spotify, you think that you could like it's a big platform. Like it's the biggest, like Apple and Spotify are both the biggest platforms out there. You think that like you'd get a lot more because like basically the 360 deal he talked about, like everybody gets a piece of everything you do and it ends up like just drowning the artists can't survive because they're just taking like majority of what they put out. And it's crazy to me how like Apple and Spotify, like the two biggest platforms for music now, literally like take that much away from the artist, which is crazy. I don't know if there's like a movement against that or whatever, but it just seems like that's like a lot of bullshit because it's like, how are you supposed to, because you think that like those numbers you said, it's like right off the bat, it's like you should be fucking like you, I'm not saying like, I'm not trying to disappoint you or whatever. I'm just saying like, you think you'd be like, yeah, that's more. Like I fucking did more than like I did a lot. And I'm not going to compensate.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's all my dad said. He's like, "Oh, where's the money?" I'm like, "Well, man, it's complicated." But yeah, I mean, with those deals, it's so, and with how streaming works now, it's good and bad, right? So the good thing is you could release music I mean, with or without a label, with ease now. I hit a button and I go to every platform in the world. You know, it's so easy to do. You could release often. It doesn't have to be. So now I think especially someone at my level, I think albums are the dumbest thing you could possibly make. And I mean, big artists, sure. Yeah. Like you, but like me, I don't even listen to albums really anymore, to be honest. I mean, like I don't really listen to music anymore. I don't have a lot of time, but, believe it or not, I don't listen to like any music. It's kind of weird. But I think albums, man, like, I mean, no one wants to hear my album right now. Like if I'm pushing out a 15-track album, like, yes, I have a fan base and like, yes, it'll get some plays, but like, I mean, no one has time. Like no one wants to sit down and listen to a 15-track album from like damn near anyone. I don't even want to do that. I would listen to like Drake's album, but like, you know, that's it.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'll drop, like, streaming gives you the ability, and like even being independent and just having these distribution platforms, I can release a single every 2 weeks if I want to. And that's what I do. So, and I think that's just so much more practical for artists, especially in my position. Because not many people take the time to listen to a 30-minute project, you know what I mean? But someone will take the time to listen to your single, you know? And then if you're consistent with that and you keep dropping every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, or maybe even drop 2 at once one time, then you're like, this kid's dope. And then they keep coming back, and then you're just dropping, because you're just giving them one at a time. You're giving them like a little something each time, not like, hey, go listen to these 20 songs, like at once, like, cause it's just not going to happen. And that's like, we're at a good spot right now because I am able to do that. The money thing sucks. But when you, like I said, when you get to that point, then you can do this by yourself, release all of that music. And then instead of the 600,000, that turns to 600 million shit. I mean, because a lot of people can listen to music with ease now. So then you're just making money sitting at home. So it's different. And you got to bring that to the labels as well, because they don't have to do as much anymore. So, because before they'd have to distribute it everywhere. Now I'm like, okay, cool. I could hit enter on my keyboard, and then it goes to every platform I needed to. Like, so like, why would you take money from me to do that? So like that's a big thing too. And like, I know independent is like the big wave right now. And I'm not saying I wouldn't sign it, but like, you gotta go into it smart, because times are a lot different.
Yeah, that's a good point.
If you made the jump to like a label, like, how would you would obviously want to keep your masters, right? Like, you would want to own that, basically, right?
Yeah, so I mean, not all of it, but and I would be okay with a cut. So first of all, if anyone ever tried to take my previous masters, so like previous songs up, no shot. There's like, I was never, and they try to do that. They're like, oh, I want your back catalog as well. But like, no shot. Like,
yeah.
like, you did that by yourself. So like, why would you, I don't understand that. But as far as like the future stuff, and because like they kind of dictate when you release shit, so it's a little tricky when it comes to that. And as far as like percentages, I'm willing to take a cut, because the good thing about labels is they will blow you up in a way that you probably wouldn't have been able to do by yourself. Yeah, I mean, you probably could. It'd just be a lot longer of a process. So I mean, but if you can, you want to keep all your masters, because if that time does come when you blow up, those songs that you made are just gonna keep getting streams and streams and like, they never stop. Like that song I was mentioning that has the 300, 400,000 streams still gets like 200 plays a day. And I don't promote it. I don't do a single thing. It's just that people that liked it just keep listening to it. And that's what happens with big artists, except that 200 a day is 2 million, or like 200,000, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why you want to keep those masters, because then, so that's why anyone giving up their back catalog is crazy to me.
That's insane, man. Because just even saying that, I just realized, so Lil Wayne, I guess, just sold his masters or whatever.
And he sold
like,
Drake's and stuff, right?
Drake's and Nicki's, like, dude, I think it was like 100 million, like, which is, it seems like it should be more than that, but I don't know, man. I guess he might be financial trouble.
Yeah, because it's like, oh, cool, 100 million, but like that shit's probably that's just they're paying 100 million for a reason. They know how much it's actually worth.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, I guess you want the money while you're here, right? Because I mean, that's just gonna keep racking up over time. But yeah, man, it's a tricky thing, and I haven't had like any like label meetings or anything like that. But you just got to come in so prepared and just like know it's different, man. You can do everything without them. It's just a matter if one, you want to have the time, or you want to actually use their resources to help your growth. But I mean, you got to go in prepared. You can't let them just kind of like boss you around and then be like, hey, we're going to take this, we're going to take this, we're going to take this. Cause like at a certain point, it's like, why? Like what, like I can do all of this, you know, I just need you. You could just tell them what you need them for, and then kind of go from there.